Hello, my fellow Earthlings. Welcome to this special episode today with Dr. Anthony Collins. He is a biologist who has been working with Jane Goodall for many years. I had the great opportunity to ask him about his life, his work, and his perspective on relationships. It was an absolute pleasure to speak to him and to get to know him. I hope you think so as well. If you like content like this, please click on the like and subscribe buttons and share this video with your friends to help others to find us. So, enjoy! So, hello, here today from the Gombe National Park in Tanzania. I just met a very interesting person here, and please introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you. Well, hello. My name is Anthony Collins. I was born in Scotland, live in England a lot, but mostly now I live here in Tanzania, actually in National Park. So I came here because I was always what you call a naturalist, interested in birds, plants, trees, rocks, animals. And at university I studied zoology, and the most interesting part of zoology was the behavior of animals. And the most interesting animals behaving was the primates. So I had a link that maybe I could write to Jane Goodall, who's the chimpanzee expert, to see if I could work with her on her program. And she said, well, she gave me an interview, and then she said, well, it would be nice if you could work with us, but we're completely jammed up for 3 years ahead now. So you'll have to wait probably. I'm sorry, but on the other hand, if you want to come soon, you can come and work not with me, but with my husband, who's got a project studying baboons. Now, baboons have a bad reputation as thieves and vicious and dishonest, which is all rubbish. But at the time, I thought it was true. So I found myself thinking, I'm replying to Dr. G, and I say, thank you very much, that would be wonderful. And in my head, I'm going, baboons, I think they're horrible. I don't know if this is great, but on the other hand, you don't refuse an offer like that. So I came here. And at the beginning, I found here there were people mainly from Europe and America, studying chimpanzees, mostly, and some of them studying baboons. And I joined the baboon people, and I discovered that the chimpanzee people were in a teasing way, were despising the baboon people. They say, you people, your work is not important like ours, and it's not even difficult like ours, and you're lazy, you can go working, then you go for a swim at lunchtime, then you go back to work, because we're in the mountains the whole day. So there was this downhill slant on us guys. And secondly, I discovered within about 3 weeks that baboons are fantastically interesting, because when you first see them, they're moving around, and you're a bit nervous and you can't tell what's happening, but you can see a lot of things are going on. But later on, when you know who is who, whose mother is whose sister is who, and then who is the dominant female, the lowest ranking female, who's the alpha male, who's the up-and-coming male who's trying to increase his dominance, when you see what they're doing, what they're trying to do, and what they're trying to stop other baboons doing, like they interfere with each other a lot, it's completely absorbing and very, very busy and active. I have to say chimpanzees are more philosophical. So the females are mainly concerned in a good motherly way with making sure that they have enough food for themselves and their children, and the children are safe. That is number one for female chimps. But for male chimps, they're much more concerned with being tough guys and increasing their rank in the hierarchy. But apart from that, they're very philosophical. They move around. They're not very adventurous. They're very good in using tools, but they're very measured in what they do. Maybe that's the problem. They're too measured. But baboons are not measured at all. Sometimes they forget what they're doing. And so there's always a lot of chaos and action the whole time. In terms of being entertaining, baboons have to play with chimps every day. Except sometimes when the chimps really explode. But in terms of busy, the baboons are number. So basically I became a baboon person in my heart. And the other thing, which is important, was that you're offered to come to a place in the middle of Africa on the edge of a lake, miles from home, for a year. And you think, okay, I'll give it a year. But after I'd been here like 2 months, there was a very heavy rainstorm, and I was walking along the edge of the lake, freezing cold, and then suddenly I realized that this place is actually, it's Africa, but it's just like Scotland, where I come from, in which I always thought Scotland, the mountains of Scotland were heaven on earth. So now I suddenly was I'm in heaven again, but it's tropical. So that also helped me decide to spend more time here. And in fact, I've sort of failed to go away. So I've been here now since 1972 till 75. Then from 82, 83, I was here a bit. Then 87 until today, whatever year it is. I've been here maybe 9 months, 10 months, 11 months every year. So actually, although Scotland was my home, it seems to me this is now my home. The transition has happened, slowly but surely. So the Tanzanians think I'm basically a Tanzanian now, which is not 100% correct, because I still have my family in London, in Scotland, and but on the whole they think I've settled in. And it's true. The things I normally expect to do, I do them. When I go home to Britain, I used to be confused when I went there, because one of the differences between here and there is everybody in the West has so much choice. Whereas here you have no choice about what to buy, what to do, places to go. Everything is limited, and that's fine. But so when you go back into a multiple choice system, you become confused and you think, I should do this, I should do that. Why don't I do this? Why don't I do that? And I used to not like it too much, but now I know when I go there, I know what I want. I have to see my family, which people I have to see, what I want to do, which is not much. It mainly involves bookshops, music, and seeing people. And then I come away again. Fine.
Yes, so I can totally relate to that, but also about home. It means that you basically spend my whole lifetime already here.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really long time. Yeah, but what I experience also is that there's a big difference between how relationships work in Europe and here. Like from my experience in Europe, you also have the choice. You have a lot of personal space. You have a lot of distance to the people. Everything has to be very arranged. And here you just have much closer relationships to the people. You're much more like everyone's more welcoming. You're just going to people's homes. And yeah, so my question to you would be, how has your culture and home in Europe and now compared to here influenced your relationships and how you live relationships with other people in your surroundings?
Yeah. There are two things really. One of them is the cultural difference, and the other one is the position I'm in relation to the people. But I'll start with the cultural difference, because it is very true that in Europe everything is much more organized and arranged. Like if you want to go and see somebody, you phone them up and you say, can I come on Thursday, or I'll come in then on Friday in the afternoon, okay? I'll see you at 5 p.m. And you do all that kind of stuff. Here, well, for a long time that I've been here, there were no telephones anyway. So that culture of organizing your future by phone is not here, because it was not possible. And so the traditional culture, which is still here, is basically that people are very open-minded. They take each day as it comes. They don't know what's going to happen today. If people arrive unexpectedly, there's great hospitality. There's none of this kind of, oh God, they've come at the wrong time. You know, you just you welcome them in, and if your visitor, even if your visitor is unexpected, you at least force them. You must eat. You can't just go here without eating. You must come and stay with us and eat something, and we'll be together, so that you're like you've really been there. And what is also, so people are basically open-minded. Tanzanians, I cannot speak for all nations, but Tanzanians are very caring and kind and very considerate, and they kind of see how you are, what you need. what your intentions are, and so forth. And so that's not true everywhere. And you really feel in Tanzania that you're among friends, hospitable people. It's very nice. Maybe in urban places, the big towns like Dar es Salaam, maybe Arusha, things have become more Western. But basically, here we're living in villages, village area. That's the culture. And so everything is free. If you want to tell a story, you take ages telling a story because nobody's in a hurry, and things like that. And people don't mind talking about anything at a great length. But what is different also from our home culture, which was evident very early on, is that I think in Britain we've kind of lost our respect for our elders. Here, respect for elders is paramount. And for example, there's a greeting which you have to make when you meet somebody who's older than you. Even if you've seen them before today, they say it again. And the greeting is a Arabic sounding word called shikamo. And so if somebody younger than me meets me or passing by like this, they don't say, "Hi, how are you?" They say shikamo, which is a term of respect and kind of social rank according to age. And I, of course, have to say marahaba. And if I don't give the correct reply, it's kind of rude or offensive. So that kind of structure of society of respecting age is very conspicuous. Also, another thing is politeness and respect in your dealings with people. Like, generally speaking, if you want to do something or ask somebody for something, you don't do it without greeting them first properly. There are a series of greetings like, "How are you? How's your family? How's your work?" And so on. And when those things are done, then you can say, "By the way, I came because I wanted to borrow that book of yours about something." But you have to go through all these things first. And it's quite nice because it allows people to kind of adjust to how each other is in a respectful way before you decide whether to go ahead with your bid or not. Because it may be they've just lost somebody in the family and it's not sensible to just rush in with your request. You can find out how are you facing one another. I kind of like it, excuse me mentioning this, but when we use fax machines, I don't know if you remember, when you dial a fax number, you get the number, and then you know you're connected when there's a really horrible noise, like a chicken screeching, a very horrible noise. And people say, "What on earth is that?" And the answer is, it's the two fax machines adjusting to each other and getting themselves connected electronically on the same thing. So I kind of figure that the very polite greeting system here is kind of like that. You want to make sure that you're on the same footing before you proceed with the job in hand. And that is very nice. And certainly when I go back to Europe and you meet kind of brash people who rush to the front and they say, "Give me this, give me that," in the shops or whatever, it's really quite shocking to see how people behave in the West.
I love how you just explained this because, well, I'm here now for 1 month and it's exactly what I experienced. So in the beginning, I was really used to in Germany, like say morning. That's all you say in the morning. Then you already greeted the other one and then you just talk about other things because basically it's like, why should I talk about your problems, my problems, whatever. And here it's really this protocol you have to follow. And basically also it doesn't fit with another language. So if I try to speak English, like there are not so many questions you can ask. And here it's such a big variety what you can ask about your home, how is your work, how is your family, how is everything. And then there are different responses. And I'm still learning about which is the right response to the questions you have. But it's so fascinating. It's such a polite and caring culture here as well.
Yeah, it is.
I think really after so many years you kind of adapt to it and it gets a kind of almost basic need to have this level of respect and care. Yeah.
I mean, it's still, we still have our nature, so sometimes it's really frustrating.
Yeah.
To say, really, let's get on, I really want to know.
Exactly.
And you can't do it. But there's a lot of things about living here where you say, well, forget it. You can't do it like you do it at home. So just relax. Yeah, exactly. Don't be stressed. And when you can do it, you will do it. Because I think if you're highly structured and forward-moving person, then you're going to be frustrated here a lot, simply because all the things you plan to do, you can't do them. You make the plan for the day 1, 2, 3, 5 until 10. You get to the end of the day, you're exhausted, and you've only done 4.
Yes.
Well, forget it. Enjoy it. Don't stress about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Really beautiful advice.
So you can go ahead like that. Yeah. Just one other cultural thing which has surprised me is there is actually, as we're studying in monkeys, there's quite a strong hierarchy among people, not based on, age is very important, but there's also a kind of culture which took me years to discover, which I don't like it so much. It's more like big people and little people. And like, in my position, I shouldn't be picking up rubbish. If there's rubbish on the ground, I shouldn't pick up rubbish because the little person is the person who does that. I don't do that. Mm-hmm. Whereas me, I hate rubbish, and I hate to see it. I pick it up to try to show people you should be picking up rubbish like that. But they will go, and I'm lowering myself by doing that. And the system means that, like a big person just can tell somebody who's not related to them in family, but just in the kind of village around them, can you go and get my shoes? I left them behind the office. You'll have to go and do it, And whereas me, I would never dream of asking anybody that. Get my shoes. So, but here it's completely normal, and nobody questions it. The little person doesn't mind. The big person gets what they want, and so forth, which is really curious. And it also operates within the family, among the women. I think the senior position of the mother, but there's, like at home, if somebody suddenly arrives and they're going to stay for lunch, then it's my mother who goes in the kitchen and cooks for them. Here you will never see that. The parents are there, and if somebody arrives and has to be cooked for, then it's like the junior woman does it. It's like the youngest daughter who's at least old enough to cook, maybe somebody 13 or 14. They don't be told anything. The people arrive and they just go into the kitchen and start fixing food, and it's like a completely opposite system to the one I grew up with.
Yeah.
And the final thing, sorry to go on, is that your position. I say I'm very at home with the Tanzanians, but the things I cannot escape is maybe among the people around us, they look at me as just any old person. But in larger area, like going into town or whatever, there is still the expectation that I'm a very rich person, I'm a European, I must have got lots of money, and if I'm not showing money, it's just because I'm hiding it, and so on and things like that. So it's very difficult there's an asymmetry between people, which you cannot avoid because of that. I'm very lucky here. I'm very lucky not to be an aid worker or an NGO person or a business person, because there will also be an asymmetry in our relationships there. But because here we're in the village, a very relaxed place, and we see each other, and we work together in the forest every day. We help each other on and off the boat in a big storm, and everybody just mucks in together. That asymmetry of me being a European and them not being is minimized, and I'm very happy for that. It's a privilege actually to be able to be so close to them.
Yeah, definitely. I've experienced almost the same, because for 2.5 weeks I've been living in an abbey with monks, and basically they told me always to rest and sit down, and they took everything away from me and called me Madame. I was like, I want to help, I want to contribute, I want to go to the kitchen, I want to cook. I was like, Madame, sit down here, so we will be doing the cooking. But I came here to help, so I came here to, I can chop the vegetables. And it took them almost a week, and then I said I'm sorry, but I feel so uncomfortable about being a madame and being treated like something better. And also when I left, they were like, okay, I'll just take the bus to go to Tigoma. How can you take the bus? Don't you have a private car? No, I'm not a rich person. I'm just here traveling with my son. I'm just white. So instantly they think you're rich, you're something. Of course, maybe I have an academic degree, but from how I see myself, I was really struggling with this, especially with the background of seeing okay, you do everything against the perspective of slavery, but then you feel like they are even kind of putting themselves in a situation where they hire you to a level like doing everything for you, but I just want to be on the same level. It's
Yeah.
really difficult here, but it's exactly, just different yes, we have a good situation here, maybe if you can still live with the instinct of just being on the level.
You just have to behave very relaxed and show them that you're a human being.
Exactly.
And let it leak out slowly, that you're actually just a normal person.
Exactly. It takes some time, but then it works out, and then you can just be friends and you can just live together. Yeah, it's very nice. So, should we go on with the next question? Then my next question would be, who was or is the most influential person in your life? Like, here, of course, everyone would say it's Jane Goodall because she is such a big influence to the work here and to the place, but maybe it's also someone completely different, like just a family or some close relatives. What would you say now, just from the gut feeling, say, like, this is...
Yeah, it's difficult to answer that question because, I mean, a part of me has to say Jane Goodall. And it's not because she's famous and influential and all those other things which she is, because I just see her as a normal person. She's like the girl next door who had a very amazing life. But I can say anything to her, and she to me there's not a like that's a ranking relationship. But I mean, basically it's because of her that I'm here, because of her that I stayed here, because of her that I have the chance to live the life I live. So to say influence my life, she's influenced very greatly at pivotal points.
Yeah, sure. You wouldn't be here without her.
To put me where I am, and that I have the opportunity that I have. So she definitely gets top billing in that way. In terms of how I approach people, how I am with people, I think it's a bit difficult to imagine. There are a lot of people who I respect for their humanity and their kindness and openness, and I kind of try to be like them, but I can't really identify any particular one. I mean, there's like one teacher I had in school who was very good and showed me lots of things about things which he thought were important in life and I thought were important in life. And there's a very famous DJ when I was young. His name was John Peel, and he had a whole different attitude to show business, if you know, than everybody else did. And it was very powerful because he was totally relaxed about it, and he was strictly firm to his beliefs, and he wrought many changes in a very unobtrusive way, just by being who he was. And I kind of like his example that don't get puffed up about things, just be who you are, and don't waste people's time.
Yeah, I think that's a great influence. Exactly, that's often the thing. Like when you ask a bit deeper, then there are exactly these stories of saying like it's a teacher, it's a DJ, because I think often it's little things that influence us in the end, again and again in life. Yeah, that's very beautiful.
Yeah, and I used to listen to his program every night, and he had many little things to say, which added up a lot.
Okay.
Also the president, the first independent president of Tanzania, President Nyerere, because he was completely atypical for an African president, especially a new one, is that he was not selfish, he was not trying to make as much money as possible, he was not a god of power. He just spoke openly to the people and said, well, we're all very poor in this country, we have these many resources, the things we have on our side are this, the things we have against us are this, but if we work together and with respect for each other, we can move ahead slowly, but we'll move ahead. Whereas other presidents, like the one over there in Congo, was completely for suppressing the poor and being very bigoted and harvesting as much money as possible and taking it out to somewhere like Switzerland. So the president was a very good example. He was like a humble president and very simple. Yeah, well, I can tell you one thing, because to work with primates very close. Like some people, they study primates, they live in their house, they drive or they walk and they see the primates having their life and then they come back again. In Gombe, you're just surrounded by them. We say this place is not our place, it actually belongs to the baboons and the chimps. And the way the baboons treat us, it's just like that. They walk through, they walk around you. If you think of like a dog in the street at home, it's about that much interaction. They just pass you by. So to live among them is gives you very good insights. And it happens first with chimpanzees, but later with baboons. So you see that very many of the things they're doing are exactly the same as the things we're doing. They're trying to establish relationships with one another. They're getting jealous about somebody else's relationships with somebody else. They're trying to get the better of somebody else. They're trying to be devious and build a friendship with somebody else in order to get somewhere else. I mean, there's a lot of social strategizing and so on going on. And in chimpanzees, it's cute. With chimpanzees, on the first day, maybe today, you said really they're quite a lot like people. And then the second day you say they're even more like people than I thought. And the third day you say it's even more than I thought. And it goes on like that. And the people who work with us, who go out with the chimpanzees every day, they just see them like people. They're their brothers, their sisters. And they know them as they know their friends. They know what they're going to do, they know who their allies are, and they know all their social networks and everything. So they're like a mirror to ourselves, and you kind of feel that a very nice oneness with them. And in the chimpanzees, there are two things very similar to humans. One of them is that the males, they really bond to each other. When you see them, you think about football teams and football people and drinking beers and watching football and armies, bonding, military. This male bonding thing is really serious for male chimps. And the bad thing is they don't respect females at all. They dominate all the females. And hopefully we're not like that so much. And then the other thing was for them it's automatic. And the other thing is that the female chimps, some of them stay with their mother, but most of them go to form their lives somewhere else in another group, away from like their father, their uncles, their brothers. In other words, to marry out, if you like, not to interbreed. But what this means is that the females are not so nice to each other because they all live in a particular shared area, but they're not relatives. This one comes from here, this one comes from over the hill, that was a complete stranger, this one's been here for ages. And they're actually more in competition with each other. You don't see it straight away. What you see is the males competing. But the females are actually are not friendly to each other. They kind of pushing each other a little. And a new female who joins the group gets treated very badly. The problem is they don't want her to be there. They chase her, they bite her, they kick her, they wound her. And she can only get to stay there by forming friendships among the males until the females give up. But there's really a lot of female antagonism in the female society, which is not nice. Sister, mother, daughter, fine.
Okay.
But outside the immediate family, it's like they don't trust each other so much.
So basically, can you say that watching this made you be more relaxed about your relationship, saying like, basically we have a lot of things in common, but we still manage things a bit better? Or like, how can you summarize and say how did it influence your own situation?
Thank you. Yeah, there's a point of view which says, baboons do it and chimps do it, and they tell us we shouldn't do it, but it's obviously in our nature.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is wrong.
Yeah.
It may be in our nature, but that doesn't mean we should do it. It's not a justification. You say if that is in our nature, then you have to cope with it and build it and make it something positive for ourselves and for society, rather than just be all taking advantage of each other and so forth. So that's one thing which is very interesting, that to get rid of the determinist argument that because we and the chimps do the same thing, it's what we should do.
Yes.
Not at all.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thought. I think that's also a nice end for this beautiful interview. I'm really thankful that you took the time, and also that I met you here. It's, yeah, it has been a really interesting, nice day for me. I hope you also enjoyed the time.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Nice to have a chance to speak to you. And yes, I think for this lady here, she came here to see primates, and she's ended up seeing the primatologist as well.
Yeah, but I always say I like the word earthlings. I think we are all beings on Earth, so it's kind of, even if there are a few percentage of genetic differences, like yeah, we are all here just for this.
We share our planet.
Exactly, we share this planet, and that's why we're here. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching to the end. I hope you enjoyed my chat with Dr. Anthony Collins. I would also like to thank Dr. Collins for his time for joining with us today. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel, and we will be sure to create more content like this. And please remember to be kind and loving to all our fellow Earthlings, big and small. See you soon. Bye bye.